What is going on, my friends? Andrew Axum from Axum Outdoor Adventures. I am currently outside and I was planning on getting some sling shooting in this evening. I've had a wonderful birthday weekend this weekend. I've had a lot of you wish me happy birthday, so thank you for that. I was able to get out here and get a lot of slinging done, but as you can see tonight, I don't think it's going to happen. But I have had something I've been wanting to talk to you guys about a bit, and it is what I would recommend for new shooters. Some videos I've been wanting to do on that. I'm going to start tonight with which frames I would recommend. So let's go inside where it's a little bit drier, and we will continue that discussion. All right, I am back inside now, and I had to change sweatshirts because it's raining harder than it looks like out there. But as I mentioned, I have wanted to do this video for a while, and it is what I would recommend for a brand new slinger. And by brand new, I mean somebody that doesn't have a frame yet, is interested in slingshots. Maybe you've seen some videos, but you don't know anybody that does it. And everybody's going to tell you you should go out and cut your own fork. And that is true. If you have access to cut a wood fork and you have something to make bands out of, that's absolutely a very cool and nostalgic thing to do. The problem is more people have access to Amazon these days than they do woods, it seems. And so a lot of people want to order one because it's going to get there faster than they can get their hands on a natural fork one. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about today. Somebody that has never had one of the modern slingshots or doesn't have a way to get their hands on one, and you're wondering, what should I buy? And I'm going to address that today, and I'm going to talk primarily about the North American and European markets because that seems to be where most of my viewers are. And so I'll be talking primarily about Simple Shot and Wasp in this video, but I will touch on a couple of other companies because I'm talking about mass-produced frames. And when you're a brand new shooter, you're going to want to get, I started to say you're not going to want to get, you are going to want to get, if you get the bug like a lot of us do, you're going to want to get a really nice metal frame or carbon fiber or something kind of pricey because you get the bug and you want to collect slingshots, and you see some really, really beautiful customs as well. And there's room for all that down the road, but you don't want to buy one of those right off because chances are you're going to get some fork hits in it. And maybe you don't end up liking slingshots as much as the rest of us. Maybe you're some kind of weirdo and you want to do something else with your time. But if you do fall into our category and you want to get more of them, I would recommend starting with whatever's available to you. And most of the time in North America, that's going to be Simple Shot. And in Europe, it's going to be Wasp. And so I will touch on both of those companies. I'm going to pull up my screen here. And let me put this one on so you can still see me in the bottom over here. So on the Simple Shot frames, which are going to be primarily your, in North America, your top tier of mass-produced frames. I'm not saying there's not a lot of great custom makers out there, and even some smaller makers that I wouldn't say their frames are custom, but they produce them on a smaller scale. I'm talking about the mass-produced ones that are easier to find online and stuff. And so Simple Shot and Wasp is what we get in North America and Europe. And so we'll start with Simple Shot. What I would recommend here, let's go to all frames. And the Scout X, the Scout XT, the LT, Axiom, Bean Flip, Hammer, Torque, Sparrow, Selgen Series, and Pro Series. They have quite a few to choose from. And my personal favorite at the moment is the Axiom. And it's not just because of the name. It's pretty close to mine, but it's a little bit different. But I just find this is the frame that works best for me. But that's not the one I would recommend for a brand new shooter. And the reason is this is an OTT only frame. And not to say you can't start off shooting OTT. A lot of people do. Oh, my kitty cat's in here wanting in on it. A lot of people start off shooting OTT, and that's what I shoot. And that's not to say that there's anything inferior about shooting TTF. But the frame that I would recommend is the Scout, the LT2 is the one I would recommend because that gives you a lot of the comfortable features that are on the Axiom. But this gives you the ability to shoot TTF or OTT to see which one you prefer, because like I said, a lot of people do prefer TTF. So out of the simple shot frames and offerings, my first selection for a brand new shooter would be the Scout LT2. You got a variety of colors you can choose from. And I think this one still comes with some accessories you can get for it. Like you can buy different scales for that, different clips, and customize it with some different colors there. And again, it shoots TTF as well as OTT. I believe this has a weight you can get in the handle as well, which is a really neat idea. I have this frame. Actually, I have a couple of them, and I have the weights, I think. Okay, here it is. Dixie decided to jump up here and join me as well. Here's the handle weight, and it looks like that's about $4.99. But I noticed when I was scrolling down here also, they have some custom grips and stuff you can get for the LT2. So a lot of ways to customize it, and that's really fun, for new shooters a lot of times to be able to play with different colors and grips and stuff and just see what all the sport has to offer. That's one of the fun parts about it. But that's why out of the simple shot stable, the LT2 would be the frame that I recommend for a brand new shooter. Now, I personally bought the Axiom Ocularis as my first slingshot. I still have it, and I still have it, and I still enjoy it. But for a brand new shooter, I found for me shooting the rounded tips, which I enjoy now and don't have a problem with them, and I really like that Ocularis system, the way you can put bands on and take them off easily, especially when I'm trying out different lengths of bands. I like that one. I like to take it out there if I want to just cut a little bit off or move it a little bit, make it shorter. The Ocularis is great for that. But for the brand new shooter, the Scout LT2 is going to be my recommendation. And I would say get the plastic one. Don't get one of the metal or carbon fibers. There's time for that later. But you're going to be much less upset about it when you put your first fork hit on a plastic frame than you are a metal one. So let's move across the pond and let's go over to Wasp's website, and I'll show you what I would recommend for first-time shooters in England or Europe. And we'll go to their frames here. Now, there's a couple on Wasp that could fall into this category that I would recommend. And we'll start with the Enzo because that is my personal favorite of Wasp. I think this is actually the very first one I bought right here. The royal blue with the red badge. I just thought that was a really attractive one. So that and the Axiom Ocularis were my two first frames. Still have both of them, still love them. And I have actually bought myself several of these Enzos because when I place an order to England, it's easier. I wouldn't call it bulk. I don't buy in bulk, but I make a big order. Thank you, Kat. I make a big order because the shipping is expensive and it seems to be more economical to do it that way. But this is another frame, and both of these that I'm recommending for new shooters, by the way, are 90 millimeter frames. That seems to be a pretty good starting place and stopping place for a lot of people. I still shoot 90. I toy around with other things sometimes, but that's primarily what I go to is 90. And like I said, it's a good place to start. So the 90 Wasp Enzo and the LT2 give you 90 degrees, which is a good starting point. And they also both give you the option of TTF or OTT. And they're both affordable frames. They both come in a plastic. It's a hard plastic, though, variety that takes fork hits well, and it won't break on you and shatter. Like I've had some cheaper. I bought one frame in particular off Temu, and it looked really nice. It was a cheap frame, and I thought, I don't have much to lose. But the first fork hit I had, the top fork literally shattered. It just shattered. So you definitely want to buy from a reputable place. Now, it's not to say you can't find a decent slingshot off of Amazon. I'm going to come back to the main screen, but I'm not done talking about Wasp for just a minute. It's not to say you can't find a decent frame off of Amazon, but it is hit or miss. And so if I were going to invest the money, I would, it does take a little bit longer sometimes for Simple Shot or Wasp to get to your house than Amazon, but you're going to get a better product for it, in my opinion. So I mentioned, let me go back over here. So this is another honorable mention I'll give Wasp. Just like the Axiom is my favorite Simple Shot and it frame, and it's OTT only. This is another OTT frame, but it's a really, really comfortable one. And if you're new and you think you want to shoot OTT, this would be the one I would get. I really like the Tomahawk from Wasp. I just happened to pull up the winter camo. I don't have that one. I think I have a green one, but very comfortable frame. I shoot pinch grip and thumb brace a lot, and so this one handles both of those really well. So that would be my top recommendations. Again, for the new shooters on my side, the American side of the Atlantic, I would recommend Simple Shot. And for a new shooter, it would be the Scout LT2. Very comfortable frame, very legendary almost in our community. And so you'll be very happy with that. And again, on the other side of the pond, I would recommend Wasp, and it would be the Enzo for the brand new shooter. Now, with all that being said, if you're anything like the rest of us, this is only going to be the first of many slingshots for you. So I'm in no way saying these are the two best slingshots. I think they are two of the best slingshots out there on the mass market. But you'll have time to get into custom frames and all that. And a lot of times I have several custom frames. I don't even shoot them that often because they're just almost pieces of art. So for a beginner who doesn't have access to band making material and woods nearby that you can cut a fork down from immediately, ideally that is the best because you learn a lot doing that. You learn to wrap and tuck. You learn about fork widths and stuff because you have to pay attention to it. Ideally, that's the best. But if you can't do that, then Simple Shot in the North American market and a Wasp in the European market, it would be the two that I go to. Again, it would be the LT2 for Simple Shot and the Enzo for Wasp. So that's just something kind of fun I've wanted to share with you guys, my opinion on things. And again, that's not to say anything against any other frames or manufacturers, but I'm talking about the availability in those markets. I think you won't go wrong with those two. I'm going to plug one last thing here. Well, actually, I'm going to plug this. Go ahead and subscribe if you wouldn't, if this has helped you out at all. I wanted to make an outside video shooting tonight, but you can see the rain wasn't going to let me. But one more thing I want to plug. I do sell leather kangaroo pouches on Etsy, and it is Axum Outdoors on Etsy. Also, if you send me an email at slingshotter73@gmail.com, I sell them that way as well. I just help enjoy getting the sport out there, letting people know about it. If you guys have liked this kind of video, let me know down in the comments. And again, like and subscribe. But I'll maybe do some more of these videos when I can't get outside and do my take and recommendations on some things. So again, thank you all for hanging out with me. Oh, should have a chat coming up soon. John Mannon and I chatted last night for about 2 hours, but we didn't record any of it. It was just, we were just catching up and having a fun conversation, but I think we're going to try to do something next week. So should have another chat coming up, kind of recapping the spring sling and also getting us all excited for the East Coast Slingshot tournament. I do have my time off scheduled. My plans already made and everything. So plan is for me to be at the East Coast Slingshot tournament. If you see me, come up and say hello. I would love to meet you guys. I'd also love to have you as subscribers. Go down there and hit the button for me. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, and I will talk to you next time.